Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to this week's episode of Guns and Cameras. I'm in the midst of a bunch of traveling. It's a busy season right now. Everybody's gotten back from summer vacation and they're realizing, oh my gosh, we need content. So it's been very busy. So for that reason, we're doing another kind of different episode of Guns and Cameras. We are going to try to get back to our regularly scheduled programming with our guest lineup here probably the next time. But I figured I've had a lot of questions about the gear I use, the kit I have, and so I figured why not just, since I'm knee deep in equipment as I'm packing for this next trip, why don't we just talk about the stuff I use? So we're going to do that. This episode is going to be surface level, kind of just real quick look into all the stuff I pack with me on a regular basis. My kit is all designed around flexibility, portability, and efficiency. And I guess you guys will see that as we get into it. So while I get into getting all this gear stowed and ready for this next trip, you guys enjoy this week's episode of Guns and Cameras. Shooters, are you ready? Stand by. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to this week's episode of the Guns and Cameras podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Best, and today, yes, we are still very much off track. We don't have a special guest. It's just going to be me talking at you again. But there is a reason for it. Thankfully, 1156 Productions' work has picked up. We're back into the busy season of production. Everybody needs the content going into the holidays and the end of the year. And so I just haven't had time to do the promotion for the next guests that I've wanted to, especially since our next few guests are awesome, pretty big names in our industry, so I'm pretty pumped about those, but it just keeps pushing me off schedule. So what we're probably going to do is I wanted to work into a 1 week posting cycle anyway, so we're just going to kick that off this week with, we're going to talk about gear. We're talking about kit. People have been asking me for a while now to kind of do this, so we're going to take a deep dive, maybe not a super deep dive, shallow dive into what I carry around with me just about every day. Talk about the cameras I use, the accessories I use, the bags I use, all the stuff. Maybe it'll be helpful for you, maybe you'll find it interesting, maybe you won't, I don't know. But just so you guys know, the way I build my kit is centered around a few things. One being efficiency, speed, portability, and flexibility, if that makes sense. So what I learned very quickly is that if you're a solo filmmaker that travels, you have constraints. You have things that you cannot really control, but will limit what you can do with what you have at your disposal. And this is going to be all off the cuff, you guys, so bear with me here. It might be a little bit, if I'm a little bit scatterbrained, it's because, for example, I'm in the middle of a trip cycle. So last week I was down in Portland with the guys from Noveski, which was super awesome and super fun. We shot a lot of dope content. You'll be seeing that on the interwebs here shortly. Then I got back I was back for one night, not even 24 hours, and then my son and I went fishing in BC, and then we got back from that 2 days to start turning around Noveski before my wife and I leave for New Hampshire for another work trip tomorrow. So we're in this little window of time where I can sit down and we can do this. But the reason why we're talking gear and kit and stuff is because it's top of mind, because I am just unpacked what I brought with me to the Noveski trip, and I'm about to repack for what I'm going to bring to New Hampshire. So perfect time to talk about it because it's all up here. But to try to clarify what I was saying just a few minutes ago, I am a traveling videographer that 9 times out of 10 is running solo. I don't generally I will on occasion if I can and the project allows, a second camera operator or a production assistant, somebody that can help me move gear, set up cameras, and do all that stuff. But for the most part, small budget, small projects, I am packing everything in myself, packing it out myself, setting it up myself, running the gear, doing all that. So when I started looking at my equipment, I wanted to look at it through the lens, pun intended, of those few things I mentioned. So efficiency, portability, flexibility, right? Where I need to be able to set up everything and tear it all down within a matter of minutes, not an hour, right? So it's all about being able to quickly build rigs, quickly tear them down, have them all be interchangeable or modular, right? Be able to rig it up, rig it down very quickly, but then also to have equipment in my toolbox that I can also like have for multi-use purposes, right? So if I'm buying a tripod, I don't need it to just be a tripod. It's also going to be a light stand. It's going to be a boom arm. It's going to be used for grip. It's going to be used for propping, staging. So it needs to be able to have all of the fittings and accessories and strength to be able to allow for that type of use. And still be lightweight and still be strong and all of the above, because I rely on this equipment heavily to function properly. And that's a big part of how I make decisions as well. A lot of times if it's a new piece of equipment that I haven't trained on, which is a pro tip for you guys, if you buy a new piece of gear right before a trip, maybe don't like rely on that completely. You need to have time on the gear before you want to be able to reliably roll that out on an actual paid project, right? So just like in firearms training, right? Shoot your gun, train on it, right? It's the same with your camera gear. You can't just buy a piece of gear and throw it into your workflow and assume that you're just going to pick it up on the fly. You need to know that equipment. That's part of your responsibility as somebody who's offering a service to a client, is when you show up with a new piece of gear and you have a limited window of time to capture the shots and you have talent and people depending on you for timing, you don't want to be fumbling around with settings in that moment. It needs to be ready to rock when you get there. So anyway, that's going to be the premise to this. So what we're going to do is I'm going to throw the cases up here one by one. I travel in general with 4 bags. I have a backpack. I have a small Pelican, which I believe is the 1535 Air. I have a large Pelican, the bigger brother, which is the 1615 Air, and then I have the Easy Rig Mini Max duffel bag. Those are the 4 things I carry with me, and I am generally able to get everything you're about to see into those 4 bags and still like maybe not have an overweight bag. Sometimes I do. It depends on the shoot, but for the most part, I'm able to pack those things around pretty well. And it checks all the boxes. I'm able to do just about probably 90% of what you see on Instagram, whether it's photo or video that's coming from 1156 Productions, has been shot and captured on the equipment you're about to see. Like it's just a lot of times being creative and understanding the fundamentals and being able to move quickly. So let's get into it. Bag number 1, here we go. Let's start with this guy, because this is like my main squeeze. So this guy goes with me everywhere. This is the smaller Pelican, right? The 1535. I'm thinking about it, going a different direction here. But once you get your stuff as dialed as I've got mine, every time you think about replacing a piece of equipment, you really have to consider how much what it's going to impact, because usually there's downstream ramifications anytime you make a change. So fundamentally, this is my main container. This goes with me everywhere. This goes with me on the plane. I never check it, just because usually the contents of this case are worth the most amount of money. They're also the most fragile. So this is my main kit. So let's go ahead and magically put this down here. We're going to snap our fingers. And there it is. That's everything that goes inside this case. I'm pretty sure. I just unpacked it all. It's kind of a mess. You can't really see it great on this camera feed, so I apologize, but we're going to go through every piece here and I'll explain why. We'll just dive into this. So, first and foremost, Ear Pro. This is an emergency set. This is an emergency set of Ear Pro. Just some cheap foamies that I can throw in. I usually keep those always, just because you never know. You know, if you need an extra set for somebody, or your main set is down, or you forgot your main set. So working in the firearms industry, or even if you're doing like training for heavy machinery, I always keep some extra PPE. So there you go. Always keep some of those around. They don't take up any space. They're very light and they're very cheap. So Foamy Ear Pro. We got this. This is the PDY or PGY Tech. Sorry, not PDY. This is a SD card holder for both CFast Type A and standard SD, and then a bunch of mini micro SDs with a little tool and stuff. This is also a high-speed card reader. So for a long time, I carried two individual pieces. I carried a card reader, and then I carried a card case, and I was like, I'm tired of carrying around two things and it takes up extra space. So sure enough, somebody decided to combine the two. These are fairly spendy. I think they go for around $100, but it's, you know, it's been very useful for me to be able to have a case for my cards and have a way to read the cards. It's a little bit heavy and a little bit bulky, but again, it's still a smaller footprint than two cases or two separate items. So PGY Tech, they got a lot of different variations as well, as far as like the amount of cards, type of cards, etc. So PGY Tech, SD card reader, SD card holder. Moving on. V-mount batteries, nothing super special about these. I generally carry 4 in this case. So one of them is being used on this camera right now to record, but I got 2 the 98 watt Indie Pro. These are the first ones. I bought these years ago and these things still operate very well. I generally use these ones for running lights, V-mount packs for like the Godox lights that I carry, which we'll show you in a minute. But these are great. This also came with the V-mount charger, which I sometimes pack. It just depends on how long the shoot's going to be. But usually, you know, get yourself one of these. I think it's like $500, $600 for 2 V-mounts and a charger usually. So I carry 2 of those. I have 2 of the, these are, what are these? I covered it up with the stickers, so by all means, bear with me here. These are the, who are these? They're like the Camvate ones, but they're the knockoff version of the Camvate ones. They're 99 watt little V-mount packs, dual SD on top, D-tap on the side. These have been great. These usually run the cameras. I've had these for years as well. That's kind of the thing about these. When you buy V-mount batteries, they're, I think, a good investment for you because they're going to run your camera all day long, and you're generally going to get a great lifespan out of these. And they also power, again, going back to flexibility, I can charge MPF batteries with these. I can charge computers, I can run phones, I can run lights, I can, you know, there's a lot I can do with these. So having like a big power bank like this that's super flexible is very handy, especially if you pack up to 4 like me. So V-mounts, big deal. I just picked up some of these. They're currently running my laptop right now. It's the small rig ones. I'll just hold these up for now. So I'm going to replace, I'm going to start using these as well. I'll let you know how I feel about them. Generally, in my opinion, anytime you try to add things to something that is just like it's like a feature addition, like for example, the small rig V-mounts that I just bought, they have a little display screen and it tells you amp draw, load, charge rate, all that stuff. I don't really need to know that. I don't need that feature. I would rather you take all the power you're using to run that LCD and that computer system and just put it back into running the battery. I just need to know, like this, is it charged or not? And if it, you know, and etc. So we'll see how those do, or if they hold. Excuse me, I just had breakfast. We'll see how they do and if they hold up in comparison to the more basic counterpart. So I'll let you know. But anyway, V-mount batteries. I generally, sometimes these will go into the backpack depending on what extra space I need in the Pelican, but some extra drone batteries. Batteries take up a lot of weight, which is one of the, if we're going to dive into this now, I guess a little bit, we might as well because we're talking power. Power solution is what I call it. It's like my power solution to the problem of power, right? A lot of times we're at the range, or we're up in the woods, or we're, you know, on a location that may or may not have power or enough power to like keep everything plugged in. So a lot of what I build my kit around is a solution for providing power to all of my devices, so they all got to be compatible, and then being able to run them for at least 8 hours, right? 8 to 10 hours in a given filming day, and then I get back to hopefully wherever the hotel is, and we can recharge and refit for the next shooting day. So everything about this kit is designed to be able to run everything on those 4 V-mounts, the batteries that I pack, and like 8 to 10 hours, right? And that is something that I've got very much dialed, because that is something that you never want to like forget to think about. It's like, you know, the exposure triangle I very terribly tried to explain in the lost episodes of the Guns and Cameras podcast, where you have like a few of these points and you can control any one of those 3 to get your maximum output. It's when you pack kit, I kind of look at it in that same way, where I have how many devices do I have that require power, and then how much battery do I need to supply that power, right? So how many items need power, how many batteries do I have, and then is there power on the location, right? And I have to make a decision within knowing those 3 variables of how many batteries do I pack, what pieces of equipment do I bring, right, to be able to capture the look I want that require power, how much power do they need, etc. And so that's always something that I consider, is like, what do I need to capture the pictures? How many batteries do they need? You know, and I kind of run everything through this like mental equation or algorithm to provide the maximum value and efficiency, keeping all of those things in mind. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, or if I just sound like a crazy wacko nut job. But anyway, think about it. When you're packing your equipment, just keep in mind, top of mind, power, power, power. How do I run these cameras for it? How long do I need to run these cameras realistically? Because if you have a set list or a schedule, you're going to know, hey, we're shooting from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Well, that's an 8.5, 9 hour day. Do you have enough power to run for 9 hours? Because if you don't account for that, and you get out there and you're halfway through the day and all your batteries are dead and you don't have backups, you're going to look bad. It's going to be bad, not good, especially if there's not power nearby. So, pro tip, think about power. It's important. All right, enough about that. Let's move on to what else we got. So, this is all a whole bunch of like little stuff. It's like grippy, important things. You guys have heard me say this before on the podcast. Sometimes a piece of equipment will not function without the right cable. So I always carry a couple. The cables are lightweight generally, right? And they don't take up a lot of space. So I overpack on cables. So I generally carry a long USB-C standard to USB-C, right? Something like this. This is, I think, like a 4-foot or a 5-foot cable, right? This I keep mostly for, well, again, powering tube lights, for powering a camera if I need to, or anything that requires a little bit of a longer cord. I generally carry 2 of these. So here's one. I carry 2. These are actually super dope. I'm glad I found these. So they make all kinds of dope cables. If you spend a little bit of time at B&H, Adorama, or Amazon, you'll find all kinds of nifty little things. Like, so, for example, I don't like running dummy batteries in my cameras, just because there have been, I'm not saying it happens all the time, but there have been reports of sometimes dummy batteries providing too much power to the camera and bricking the camera. I don't have time for that, right? All my gear is insured, which I also highly recommend is insuring your equipment, but I don't have time for that. I need those cameras to work, right? So what I do instead is I run USB, standard USB, to USB-C power from the V-mounts to the camera. And we'll build one, I'll put one together and you can kind of see what I mean. So I have an MPF battery fully charged, right, in the camera, and then I'm providing power to the camera through the USB-C, right? That has worked flawlessly for me. It keeps me from getting that, like, this is not a valid battery alert, which is a real pain in the butt in the menu, but it also provides guaranteed 5.5 volts or whatever the minimum safe requirement for voltages to the camera. So no bricked camera. So I carry 2 to 4 of these, depends on what I need, but usually 2, 1 for each camera. Oh, and speaking of unique cables, this is why I love these. 90-degree USB off the top, sort of. It's like a little bit bigger than that, but 90-degree off the top of the battery, 90-degree into the side of the camera. These are metal and grippy. This is a threaded, or whatever they call it, cable. Very nice cables. I forget what brand they are. You'll have to look it up on Amazon. Here's the other long USB to USB-C. So 2 of those, which is why I also love these, like, not cam bait, sort of cam bait, whatever these are, 99 watts, because they have dual twin USBs off the top. Super handy, right? So I can power 2 lights off of each one. Generally, it'll run the lights all day in the right power setting. This is a, what is this? It's a little Deity shotgun mic. So I don't normally use this, but I always keep it. Redundancy is a word that I think is super important. So systems, anything that you have can break or fail, right? So I always like to have an option for redundancy. So this is a little Deity shotgun mic. I think these goes for like 60 bucks. This is like my ultimate backup fallback audio solution for run and gun. So if I have to, I can throw that on a camera. It doesn't require a battery. It's powered from the camera. Nifty to have, doesn't take up a lot of space, really lightweight. That is like a redundant system. So usually when I pack my kit, I have in the bag, in this Pelican, this is how I pack, just so you guys know. You know how airlines go, right? With losing stuff. In my main 2 bags that I have on my person at all times, I have everything I need to do the job at the most minimum level, right? So I have the cameras, the power, the memory, all of the stuff I need to be able to capture exactly what I guaranteed I was going to deliver if all the other gear got lost. It would be a pain in the butt, probably be really super sore, and we'd have to get a little bit creative. But if the airline loses either of my other 2 bags that I check every time, I can still go to the shoot and capture the content the way it should be caught. So that's something I also keep in mind all the time is, again, going back to providing good service. I am the professional. I am responsible for being able to deliver this service, especially if I'm getting paid for it. It's called good customer service. That's why I want people to come back to me. You should want to have the same thing. So this is something that makes you look super good as the pro. This is what makes you look pro, right? It's not that you have the new iPhone Pro that makes you pro. This is what makes you professional, is when you can be like, yeah, the airport lost my bags, but it's no biggie. I keep everything we need to do the shoot on my person. Boom. You look like a superhero. Small thing, but just keep that in mind when you're packing gear. Keep the essentials to do the job on your person. The rest are just enhancements, right? So moving on. And redundancy. So I keep a little bit of backup in this Pelican. So we got a 4K or 8K compatible super lightweight HDMI cable. These are money. You can, dude, if there is an option like this for a cable, right? I think this is like what, 2 feet? It's 2 feet long, lightweight HDMI up to 8K. These are, you do not want to be packing around a fat honking cable. It takes up so much space, a lot of extra needless weight. Go get an ultralight. They're kind of spendy. They can be $30 to $60 depending on which brand you go with, but oh my gosh, totally worth it. So I usually keep 1 or 2 of these. That's for the monitor, right? When we build one out, we'll see. So I'm gonna get into these in a second because this is a whole system here. So MPF batteries. I usually keep, what, 2 batteries per camera. So I'm usually running around with like, I think 6 to 9 of these little deals, fully charged. A lot of MPFs. I do not buy this one. I never bring with me, right? This is a knockoff MPF. If you're gonna spend money anywhere, get the actual Sony MPF batteries. Everybody's like, you can save money and buy the cheaper dummy versions, but they almost always trigger that alert on the camera, which is a pain. And it's your power solution. This is one of your primary power solutions for your camera. If your V-mount battery fails, if your whatever fails, I have enough power right here to run one camera for like 2 days, or 2 cameras for 1 day, right? Which is the goal, just in MPFs with no extra added weight. So just buy Sony's MPF batteries is my opinion, my advice. You don't have to take it. It's whatever. Do what you want. But I carry a lot of those. What else we got? So for audio, we're gonna dive into audio. Are we? Okay. Audio is important. You need to have, again, audio solution. So power solution we kind of talked about. Audio solution is going to be next. So we got a way to run the cameras. We need a way to capture sound, and we need to capture sound well, right? Sound should be, in my opinion, 51% of your video's experience for consumers is going to be the audio. How you use sound effects, how you capture your primary speaker or whoever your VO is going to be, and how you mix it all together with the music selection. So it needs to be something you consider, and you should very well invest in it. So what I usually carry is 1 to 2. These are the Shure not SM. These are the Shure. Let's start this over. What I carry are two of these. These are the Sennheiser MKE 600 shotgun mics, right? I think these go for, what do these go for? 300 to 600? I think it's 300 each. Because there's like the MKE 1000 or whatever that's a little bit longer, and it's a lot more. I think these are 600. I don't know. Look it up. MKE 600s from Sennheiser. These are my shotgun mics and boom mics. They also double as boom. They do take a AA battery, so I usually pack extra AA's, usually 2. You can provide phantom power to these through your camera, right? But these are great, pretty simple. You got like a high pass, a no filter. It looks like a low pass filter on and off switch. These are pretty great, lightweight. I like them. I put tape around like these. Here's a little extra gaff tape. I do this because the Sony top handles are too big for the diameter of this mic. So it helps grip, but it also provides, again, talking about flexibility. If you need an extra little strip of gaff, you have it right here. So I usually pack 1 to 2 of those just for on-camera audio. I do pack with me when you buy those microphones. They come with an XLR to 3.5 mil or an aux jack. I do bring this with me because, and we'll talk about how this whole sound system works in a minute. Also, talking about XLR. So this is our male to female XLR that goes from the Sony top handle to the shotgun mic. Again, don't buy big fat cables, right? If you're going to be traveling a lot, the last thing you want is to have 50 pounds in cables, and they take up a lot of space. Go find, these are super dope, super low profile XLRs, right? Male, female, lightweight cord, right? I think you can get them on Amazon or B&H. Again, they are a little bit more expensive, but my weight to space ratio, I mean, look at that. That is an XLR. Fits in the palm of my hand. So I usually pack 1 to 2 of those. So the way I build these camera rigs, the FX3s, I carry 2. They are the twins is what I call them. They are rigged out usually identically. Same kit. Again, going back to flexibility and redundancy. If A camera dives, I have B camera as a backup. It just becomes the A camera. Or if I need something off the A camera to run B camera, I can pull the gear off and replace it with a redundant system and have my primary A camera still be functional. So twin setups. I don't know, pro tip, maybe not. There's the extra AA. What else we got? Charger for MPFs. This is a dual charger. This is a newer or newer or whatever, however you pronounce it. Newer. Great USB-C enabled. Definitely a must-have. Charge 2 batteries at once. Really lightweight, small package. Again, here's our other 8K HDMI, so 2 of those. I carry 2 because we have twin setups, but also if you want to have the ability to run to a computer or do something else, you have the option to offer that. Again, going back to flexibility. USB-C to C, these are always just handy to have around, especially for data transfer or for running emergency power off of something. I usually also carry one of those little like portable power banks for my cell phone, so these are always handy to have around. One of the other things I tried to keep in mind when I build my kit is with some of these redundant things where, whether it's especially cables, you guys, is it's always good to be Johnny on the spot with a solution to a problem on any film set. So if you're out working and you have a photographer who's also working, they're probably running a camera. That camera probably uses USB-C. They have all the same problems as you, and it makes you look way better if somebody's like, oh crap, I forgot a cable, and you're like, I got you. Here's a cable. Saved their day, makes you look good. So also think about, hey, what are common things that not only will I forget, but others might forget, and then be willing to help, because you want to be the guy. Again, when you're working on a project collaboratively to capture content, it's not a competition. You are all there trying to accomplish a singular goal, and we want to be team players. So whether you guys are fighting for work out here on the outside of space, if you're on set together, you are a team, and you want to be able to have your team members back at all times. So just keep in mind, always good to have extra things of especially cables. So there you go. That's most of the power cables. Like here's one other cable we can talk about really quick. I usually carry a monitor of some kind, not usually 2, generally just 1 for the A camera. This is an Atomos Shinobi 2. Pretty lightweight, it's 5.5-inch screen. This is the Atomos dummy battery that replaces the big fat Sony power blocks right here. It just runs to DTAP. This is the Condor Blue DTAP to whatever that is cable. this runs off of the D-tap port of the battery. That's usually the only D-tap I need. Unless I'm building a bigger rig that has focus motors and stuff, I don't usually need more than one D-tap, and that's just to power the monitor. So that setup goes in there as well. Recently replaced, I had an Atomos Shinobi. I also have the original Ninja 5, both great monitors. The Shinobi 2 looked a lot lighter weight, smaller form factor, better cable placement and management. So going back to making changes to your kit, that was a reasonable gain in space and portability and function for the price to replace the old one. So that's why. Let's go into just kind of some little grip things here. So extra, what are these, like Arca Swiss type, tripod to camera plates. I usually carry 2 of these. One of them's on this camera right now. These are for direct mount to a camera, to a tripod. Always good to have around. I usually run like the Manfrotto quick release plates, but I've since kind of stripped those out of my kit because they're heavy, and I can just, again, these, going back into grip here, these small rig V-mount battery deals are dope, and they have, that's an Arca Swiss plate right there, so I can just direct mount to the tripod without having to even have those extra plates through the deal that's carrying my battery, connected to my camera body. These are awesome. 1 or 2 of these usually goes into the, now it's going to be 2, and I'll explain why in a minute, but these are dope. Getting a little off track here. Here's another one of those plates. So 2 of those plates. I generally try to keep an like a phone mount of some kind. This is one that came with some iFootage gear I bought recently, and I actually super like the design of it. It's just a cold shoe mount, but there's also like a 1/4 thread on the bottom, so I can put it on one of those little camera plates and put it on a tripod. But this is a really great camera phone holder, so if you're doing like a group photo, the other day we were at Staccato Ranch, we wanted to do a group photo, and I'm like, hey, let's just throw a phone on top of a camera through the hot shoe mount, and we'll just, it'll all be set up. We can get both at once. So usually something like lightweight like this is great to have handy. The other one I pack generally is stuck right here. This is like a magnetic deal with a small rig quick release tab to a Arca Swiss, super lightweight Arca Swiss plate. This one I carry a lot, just because it's super versatile. Again, going back to flexibility, there's a lot I can do with this rig, with magnetic, placing lights, placing microphones, stuff like that. This is what is it? It's the Infinite Focus magnet. You can get them on Amazon. They're really affordable. The small rig quick release plates, I forget what these are called. They're kind of spendy. These are the Hawk Locks. I like them. I super liked them for a while. Now I'm like not as about them. I have a bunch of them. I rarely use them now, but they're just useful to have around if you need to quickly be able to attach and detach something with a small footprint. So there you go. Got way too much stuff. Hey, what's up, guys? We're halfway through this week's episode of Guns and Cameras, and that means it's time for me to tell you it's been brought to you by 1156 Productions and by Tokens of Valor. Tokens of Valor, as you know, is my boutique ballistic jewelry company where I take copper, brass from spent casings and sterling silver, and I turn it into one-of-a-kind, hand-forged, wearable works of art. Stuff like this. If you or someone you know is interested in having a piece made, find me on Instagram at Tokens of Valor. Send me a message and I'll get something started for you. Also, you guys, we have a merch store. We got a lot going on. If you go to gunsandcameras.io, you're going to find everything you need to know with respect to what's happening in the podcast. You're going to find cool merchandise. You're going to find ways to get entered into the GCAs for 2025. These are just a few. This is the gold medal right here. Here's silver. Here's copper or bronze. Yeah, if you are wanting to have your work peer reviewed and you want to compete against others in your industry to see who is actually really got the chops to be photographer of the year, videographer of the year, etc., or just win a category, gold, silver, bronze, go to gunsandcameras.io, click on enter the Guns and Camera Awards, and get her done. Lots of cool stuff coming up, you guys. I'm going to get back to packing. You guys enjoy the rest of this week's special episode of Guns and Cameras. Enjoy. Moving on. Audio solution. So we talked a little bit about the shotgun mic, right? It's always handy to have one, and this is why. Let me show you why here. My audio system changed. For the longest time, I was packing around like a Zoom H6 or a Zoom F6 or a Zoom F3, which I still have all of those things, with like Sennheiser wireless packs, and labs and all that stuff, and that took up like a lot of space and was really heavy. It was another thing I needed to power. They also had signal drop issues, and they were heavily influenced by interference. And then DJI started rolling out these little Go mics. So the Go ones, or the Rode Go ones, were terrible. The DJI first gen ones were not terrible, but had some issues. And then the Mic 2s came out, and I'm like, these are exactly what I need. So I carry 2 of the DJI Mic 2 setups. These are the charger boxes, which I love. Great solution for, I mean, you see me wear them all the time. So for doing stuff like this, for shooting to your phone, for using these super dope little hot shoe adapters, which are huge, and they're only 60 bucks or 20 bucks or something. They're really cheap. But this is like my entire audio solution right here, right? So I've got 4 microphones, I've got 2 receivers, one which is right here. We got internal 32-bit float recording, which is important. It's like raw audio, so with 32-bit float, doesn't matter how loud or how dynamic the environment is, you're never gonna clip, right? So you can always go back and post, bring those waveforms down, and capture everything. So even if you got a guy that goes from like talking like this, like really quietly, like ASMR type whispering, to like, wow, like 32-bit float is gonna capture all that, whereas in like normal compressed audio drivers in your camera, when they hit the really low, they're gonna clip, hit really high, they're gonna clip. So you have to get that sweet dB adjustment down. So 32-bit float's always nice to have as a backup. I am always recording internally on these every time. Just again, redundancy. Usually, in general, I will run the audio through the hot shoe into in-camera, right? So this, when you plug this deal into this deal, like this goes into the hot shoe. It captures the audio channels through the hot shoe into the camera drivers, and you have the audio going in directly into camera. So usually I have 32-bit float recording internal for redundancy, and then I have in-camera recorded, which I quickly monitor, adjust DP. Usually they do really super well, and the audio in camera is really clean, and it saves me a lot of time on the back end, which is a big part of this whole equation. Is what gear do I, like, my workflow by design is meant to maximize my production value, minimize my footprint, and minimize my post-processing, right? I don't shoot in RAW all the time, which may totally blow your mind, right? But there are times when you don't need to always shoot in RAW. If you shoot in RAW or Cinetone 3, S-Log 3, whatever, right? You have to. And if you don't do this, you're doing it wrong. And I'm just gonna say this boldly. You're doing it wrong if you don't process the color in your camera. Shooting an S-Log and not processing the color is wrong. Right? So if you don't know how to do that, or you don't have the time to do that, just don't shoot in a log format. Like, pick a picture profile and shoot it that way. It'll look way better. It'll help you out, right? Because if you shoot an S-Log, what you have to do is, in the back end, you have to go in and you have to bring this contrast and the saturation back in. You have to process that imagery, or it's just going to be muddy, gray, gross. And it really sticks out like a sore thumb when you start looking at people's footage. You're like, ungraded S-Log, improperly graded S-Log, etc., etc., etc. Guys go out and buy these super skookum cameras with like 12, 16-bit, color, and they shoot an S-Log 3 and Cinetone 3, and they do all this stuff, and then they don't process it. It's like, what's the point, Anyway, let's get off the soapbox there. So anywho, what were we talking about? Raw audio. So these are a great solution. They don't have audio drift. That was a problem that I've experienced with the original mic. So if you're doing like long recording, there's like every once in a while it'll like start a new file, and that file will be like 3 frames behind, and so you have to resync audio, which is a real pain in the butt. We can get into that another time, but these ones don't seem to have that same problem. So I usually pack 2 of those, 1 for each camera or up to 4 guests. You don't need to run these through audio because sometimes you can just trigger the record, right, which is nice, and just throw it on there, and then in post, you can come back and fix it. And this is a giant rat's nest, which it always super is. These are the DJI lav mics for their microphone system. I don't love these. I actually super don't like these, just because they're a pain to untangle all the time. And I'm losing minutes when I'm trying to do this exact thing when I got somebody here I'm trying to mic up. But they do okay. I think they're about $100 each, maybe $60 each. I carry 1 for each microphone, so I have 4 at any given time. So I can do a lav mic. I can put it on directly just like this. I've got the little dead rabbit things or fuzzy cat things or whatever they're called for wind, if I need them. Those are lightweight. Again, they don't take up much space, and it's just good to have in case, right? So I carry 4 of those. But one of the cool things about these, this goes back to why I carry these as I finish untangling this thing, is that flexibility, right? So one of the cool things about these little wireless these little mics, I don't forget what DJI calls them. They're just like their I'll keep calling them Go mics. It's probably wrong. Whatever, DJI wireless microphones. What's cool about them is they have 3.5mm jack outs, right, for a little lav mic. So what I carry this around with me for is in case I wanted to put, I don't have a boom and I don't want to carry a giant 20-foot long XLR cable, is I go like this. I have a battery in here for my audio, so you toggle that on. You plug in your XLR to 3.5mm adapter. You plug this guy into here and you clip it onto your microphone stand, and there you go. You got a wireless shotgun mic with 32-bit internal recording. Super powerful. I've used this a lot. I can put like a magic arm grip to a microphone holder, and I can stick this magnetically or with small rig clamps just about anywhere. And you got a boom mic. And you can run this congruently with another lav mic. So you could have this placed on your guest and have them have an also lav, and then you have, you know, redundant audio. And generally speaking, this audio is going to be better than what comes out of the lav mic. So again, flexibility. How many different ways can I rig this equipment to help me solve a problem in a unique scenario? Because everything about what I do is super dynamic. No 2 days are ever the same. No 2 shoots are the same. Sometimes things work, sometimes things change, etc., etc., etc. Oops. Did I screw that up? This one goes over here. Yes. Yes. Okay. Anyway, so that's why those. I did notice the other day, just as a pro tip, that the Sennheiser, like the old school setup, the F6 recorder with the Sennheiser wireless packs and the lavs from Sennheiser they do produce, I think, cleaner, better audio straight out of the system. These guys, the 32-bit float does require you to have some understanding about how to apply parametric equalizer or EQing the audio stream to make it sound a little bit less muddy. But a lot of times you're not, most of what I do does not require that level of post work on the audio. So there you go. That's audio. That's what I pack. I usually carry like this little baby ratchet with 2 Allens. This is a 5/32 and a 3/16. Those generally are the only 2 I need for just about every type of Allen on any of these camera rigs. Pretty lightweight setup usually, and TSA doesn't care about these, so these usually go in the Pelican that I'm carrying on. Those are great. All right, let's get on to the nitty gritty. This is just a couple of things. I like to carry a little bag with some wipes. So these are these are microfiber cloths that have been vacuum sealed. So I carry a couple extra ones of those. Some for me, some I can share. Some just wet wipes for wiping hands, wiping gear, especially if you're doing gunpowder, dust, stuff like that. The lightweight packages. Business cards. We always forget. I just keep a stack in the case. What else we got? A little extra. This is I believe this is not lens distortion, it's Peak Design. I have the Peak Design camera strap right up here. This is just an extra of their little quick release tabs for cameras. I just keep one of those in the case because you never know if one breaks. This is something I don't always bring, but I bring often because I can rig this up with like a little small rig, like a little magic arm as an on-camera light, just in case. Something like this, right? So clip it on, I can throw that on the camera body, and I can have just an emergency light if I'm shooting in low light scenarios. Keep that. Aperture makes that kind of spendy, but useful. I've had that for years. It still holds a charge. Works great. It's magnetic. I can stick it anywhere. Okay, camera stuff. Gee whiz. Minolta X700 35mm film camera. This is a new addition. I've been finding ways to make space for this guy because it's something that I do now, and I love it. So that usually gets thrown in there. I'll put it up here. Here we go. Sony A7R5 with a cage. So this is my designated stills capture camera as of recently. I have been trying to sell this one because I wanted to go with something a little bit different, but nobody's been willing to pay for it, so I think I'm just going to keep it. So that's our designated stills camera. That usually 9 times out of 10 is going to get the 70-200 telephoto. That's for stills. That's usually that setup. And then for video, I'm running, these are the twins. Meet the twins, my friends. 2 FX3s, rigged exactly the same as they stand. A and B cameras, B and A cameras, they're interchangeable. Usually one's going to get the 28-70 G Master Mark II or the 24-105. Wow, brain fart there a little bit. 24-105. That's usually what goes on either one of those. I have the Polar Pro 2-5 VNDs for each. So this one goes here, this one goes here, and then I have Pro Mist and UV filters for each. So if I'm running Pro Mist, I will not have the UV, it'll be Pro Mist and the VND, or it'll be UV and the VND, depending on the scenario. I've also started packing around one of these little pocket dispo lenses just for funsies. I do on occasion, depending on the scope and scale of the project, carry a larger matte box. And that usually is partnered on a rig that has the cine back, bigger stuff. But that is not as often just because of space and weight. And then both of these now have these small rig V-mount plates. These are called the V-mount battery plates. What's really cool, this is the Hawk Lock system. So what's great about this cage is that this Arca Swiss plate right down here is compatible with the DJI gimbal mount, so you can slide it right onto a gimbal, you can slide it off. This guy just slides right on and clamps, and then you have a V-mount plate as well as your Arca Swiss for your tripod. You can throw this down so the battery door doesn't get in the way, right? You can extend it. It's got all the little grippies that I need. The V-mount plate goes on there. I don't need anything else other than the ports on the battery itself to power all my stuff. And then I'll usually throw a small rig wooden handle on the side. I've got 2 of these, and I'll run it like this. Top handle, one usually goes into the Pelican and the other goes into a backpack. Top handle, Sennheiser, DJI, and it all runs together. And that's it. That's what happens that's just one of the cases. Holy crap. How long have we been going for? Almost an hour. Well, maybe we get into the rest later. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's the majority of it. So that's in the small Pelican. So that's like, and then some Ear Pro. These are the Axial little ear deals. So that's what's in the small Pelican. That all fits in there generally. So there you go. We won't build these. We'll do that in another video because we're pressing time, and I've got so much to do still. I got to pack all this stuff up. And I got to get this thing started edited. I got editing to do. So much to do, you guys. So little time. Such is the life. So we're going to get all this stuff out of the way. But I will show you in another video just how quickly I can set up and tear these things down. And that was one of the things going into this kit to begin with before, was that I wanted a grab-and-go solution for for everything. I wanted to be able to just pick up my cases, throw them in the truck and go and know I have everything I need inside those cases. So all the gear stays in the cases. They live in there. They all have very designated locations. It all fits together just like a puzzle piece. So I can have everything built and stripped down and packed in like a few minutes, unless there is a really specific ask for like we want X, Y, Z captured that I need more equipment. But for the most part, it's just grab and go. It's all the same. And I know what I can capture with what I have. Very versatile setup, this kit, with respect to the type of things you can capture, light, etc. So this bag's super simple. This is the Easy Rig Mini Max. I'm not going to get it all out for the sake of time. It comes in a large duffel. I don't particularly love gimbals. Actually, I really don't like gimbals a lot because a couple of things. One, they're a pain to pack. They weigh a lot. You have to tune them and dial them in. You have to balance them every time, and you have to supply power. So everything about a gimbal for me, it just has problems written all over it. It's either they almost never work the way they're supposed to. They're clunky. They're hard to, I think they're a pain. And the footage isn't like even really, it's not worth having this kind of super stabilized stuff. Your in-camera stabilization is going to be really good if you do post-stabilization. And then I really just need the weight taken off my back, and I like a little bit of camera shake and motion, and this delivers exactly what I want. One, it gets the weight off of my back and onto my hips, takes the full supported weight of the camera. I can hold a camera all day long wearing this thing. So saves my back, gives me the look in the stable but a little bit of motion in the camera, and it costs about the same as a Ronin gimbal. And then I also pack in a bunch of extra, like if I need extra space for grip stuff, I'll throw light stands in here. If I need a gimbal for whatever reason, I'll throw it in here. If I need drone usually goes in here, stuff like that. So more durable grip stuff that I don't care if it gets thrown around will go in here with the Mini Max. So Mini Max. Back here, this is full of stuff. This is my backpack. So this is the Peak Design 30-liter camera bag they make. I really don't love this bag. I have a lot of issues with it, mostly like the straps. I don't think the straps are janky because they're really narrow and not padded enough for how much weight I pack in here. It's got too many zippers. I don't really like the design, but the reason why I use it is because it's got a huge compartment in here. I can pack a lot of gear in here. And it has those compression bags for like clothes and stuff, so I usually have like a little cube for my clothes, extra clothes packed in here. All the extra batteries goes in here. Sometimes an extra camera body will go in here if I can't fit it. Matte box will go in here. This goes into a check bag. This is like the Klein Tools, multiple ultimate screwdriver that I use that goes into a check bag. Highly recommend that one. Overflow, clothes and overflow usually end up here, as well as like a laptop, iPad, headphones, stuff like that goes in there. And then we have the big Pelican, and we'll go through this guy relatively quickly because it's so big. And there's not much in here. This is where the brunt of the grip stuff ends up, and lights. So in here, we got a large scrim, useful to have around. I got a tripod. Usually one of these will end up in the backpack because, again, going back to having everything I need to do the shoot on my person. This is the Suray little ultra lightweight carbon fiber tripod. This usually goes in the backpack. This is the Easy Rig Gazelle TC3B. I just got this one to kind of replace the actual full size like Benro and Manfrotto video tripod I've been packing around. Much smaller, much lighter, buys me a lot more space in the big Pelican and can carry more than handle the weight of the big cameras. So I usually got those two cameras. These are the Godox. I believe these are TL. What are these? The TL15s? TL16s? I've had these for forever. TL30s. So I usually carry 4 of the Godox TL30 tube lights. These are some of the most versatile, useful little tubes I've ever purchased. I've had these for 5 years now, 5 or 6 years. I've used them on everything. They're magnetic, so I can place them just about anywhere. I use them for accent lighting. I've used them for key lighting. I've used them for rim lighting. I've used them for product lighting. I've used them for everything, still photography. These have been some of the best pieces of gear I purchased when it comes to lighting ever. And they're fairly cheap. I think you can still buy these. You can get a 2-pack for like $300 or something like that. And you can get, they come with these little threaded mounts that you can stick them together and make one long tube light, you know, or 2 mediumly long tube. Like these are, I got nothing bad to say about these. Highly recommend. It doesn't have to be Godox, but these ones, for the price and the value I've gotten out of them, worth every freaking penny, and I take them everywhere. I don't always pack these, but I generally keep, these are the bigger brothers, TL60s. These are the same Godox tube lights. You can get them in a 4-pack, 2-pack, whatever. I will on occasion throw those in there. They all have their own batteries supplies, right? So, you know, you don't have to have power for them. I do usually pack power for these to recharge them, and then these I run off they're USB-C. So these ones I just charge up off of like a phone charger or the V-mounts. I can run them off V-mounts. That's why I like again, going back to flexibility, super flexible solution. And then I also have in here, these go with me everywhere. Again, talking about maximizing value for what you buy. I needed lightweight key lighting, large key lighting and rim lighting. So Godox makes these flexible LED panels. They've been around for years. This is what one looks like. These have been money. This is called the FL60. Here's your controller and V-mount power supply. You can run them off a V-mount. A V-mount will run these for a solid couple hours on low power and provide a lot of light. And they fold up, right? So flexible LED panel. You can tape these on walls. They're Velcro. You can, you know, put them on the floor. Incredibly versatile, really small footprint in the case, and they provide a lot of light. These things have been incredible. I use them everywhere. Got nothing bad to say about them. They make them in a number of different sizes. These have been perfect for what I do. When you buy them, you get a power supply controller, you get the floppy light, you get this little nifty deal for grip. So this folds out. This is the holder for them, right? Super lightweight, low profile. This goes onto here, that goes onto the stand, and you can put that light anywhere. Or like I said, you can just Velcro it or tape it. If you bring some gaff tape to just about, you can tape any flat surface. Highly recommend these. I pack 2 of them with me everywhere I go, as well as the power supplies for them. Again, if it's going to be a short shoot and I'm only shooting in low light for a little bit, I don't even pack the power for them. I just pack the controller and the light, and then I run V-mount. Great lights. I usually carry like a cleaning cloth. These are a relatively new addition. They've been very useful. These are like little small rig, full color. What are these? These are what are these? I'm the worst with names, you guys. I don't even know what the model is of this. It should say right on it, but it doesn't. Anyway, small rig makes them. It's a 60 watt RC60C, there you go. 60 watt little can lights, LED, full color, very small form factor. Great, also has its own internal battery, which is crap, by the way. Doesn't last very long on high power, but I usually pack 2 of these in there with the grip stuff. This is like the grip module for that guy. This is what it looks like. Looks like I gotta fix that one. Goes to a stand. And then this was speaking of stands, and well, just to finish up on these can lights. These are dope because you got all these like super lightweight modifiers, right? So there's a little soft box with an egg crate diffuser, stuff like that. This was something that I shopped around for a while. These are the Hive, H-I-V-E light stands. These are the lightest weight, most compact, like 8-foot light stand, I think, or maybe 10-foot light stands that I could find. And I can pack 2 of these. So one for each Godox, or one for a Godox, one for a rim light, etc. These have been awesome. I pack these everywhere. Very durable. and very portable. I mean, it's about, this is a 10-foot light stand. It's the same size as a tripod. So, and they're very light. So I packed 2 of those. Eye Pro, Ear Pro usually goes in here. Here's the little cans for the small rigs. Those go in there. I usually pack a set of, what are these? These are the Sony professional headphones, which I got to repair because the thing came off, which is a drag. I'll sort that out. And then whatever additional grip stuff or modifiers I need to throw in there, I usually do. That one is almost always like 5 to 10 pounds over the 50-pound weight limit. But if you go and have a media badge made, which I have around here somewhere. Hold on. But if you go and have a media badge made for yourself with your business logo, your name on it, your photo like this, you can, that is all you need to show at the TSA check counter that you are a commercial videographer, and they'll usually waive overweight fees, or they'll give you a better deal on the multiple bags and having to check all that stuff. And that's pretty much it, you guys. That's everything I pack with me. Everything that you've seen here is what I use every day, all the time, in all these different scenarios. I've packed this gear all over the continental United States, and I've used them every time I go. And that's been one thing that I recommend to you, as if you're a traveling videographer, is start keeping tabs on what you put in your box and what you actually use on the shoot. If you don't use it at all and you don't have a need for it, it probably should not be in the case, because otherwise you're just packing around dead weight and you can use that for something else. We can go more in depth on some of this stuff down the road. We could dive in and talk for forever just about what I laid out right here. All the different ways you can use this stuff. Because again, all of the things that I put in my kit, they have their primary use, and then they have a secondary or a tertiary use, or a way in which they could be used to help, run a camera, mic, boom a mic, run different grip stuff. Everything about what I pack has multiple uses and multiple applications, and everything can be like mix and matched, you just got to be creative and think outside the box on things, right? And that just comes with, a lot of that just comes with experience, right? The more you travel, the more you do work, the more you use gear, you're going to learn how and what you can use to get a look or a different scenario. And that's what makes you a professional. And then you can start like I do a lot of, I envision and kind of broadcast, like, this is what I know about the space. This is probably how I would light it. This is what I should bring. This is how I'd use this particular gear. And this gets augmented a little bit for a given shoot. But with everything you just saw, I can do a lot. With everything I just showed you, within these 4 cases, I can shoot just about anything professionally, make it look really good. And I can do it fast, which I think is important. Finishing on time, like being able to, like, for example, some of the Ronin stuff that we did with Genesis Arms. Like, we were in and out of that location in 4 hours. We had never seen it before, so we showed up. We scouted it out. We picked our spots where we were going to film. We threw lights up real quick, taping stuff to walls, magneting lights to here, setting, different tone, color values, making it look all grungy, setting cameras up, running, and then we go. We run and we get it, and we do the job, and that's kind of how it goes. Altogether, I could tally it all up on what this kit is, the total, if you wanted to go and replicate it. Not cheap, right? If you're into lightweight or ultralight backpacking or hunting, you know that the smaller and lighter the thing is, usually there's a markup, right? But at the end, there's a trade-off, right? I'm thinking about what my body can handle, how much I got to carry, how quickly I can set it up and tear down, and it all has to be dialed in to help me do the job and get it done real fast. And if you're this type of filmmaker, then it's going to be valuable for you too. I have found that thinking this way and building my kit out in this way has only helped me look more, I don't know, more pro. That seems like so retarded to say. I hate saying the word pro is thrown around now so ridiculously, but but it has gotten me to a point where I can very confidently roll into any scenario, like with very short notice, and be like, yeah, I can guarantee you a high quality, high production value, look, feel, all of that, and with a very low footprint, very quickly. Like, I get a call, I can show up, I can throw stuff up, make you look real good, real fast, short notice, quick turnaround. Makes me very flexible. We can blow this up if we want to, right? Like I have, and that's the thing, is this isn't all I own. I also have a full complement of like full-size studio lights, full-size stands, full-size tripods, full-on camera rigs, like all the other stuff for like bigger budget productions. But 9 times out of 10, this is what I'm rolling with, right? It's my main squeeze. And then from here, we just scale up or scale back down. It's all about modularity, right? It's real easy to hand this off to somebody who knows how to run a camera, or it's like, here's B, right? It all goes together real simple. It's not overly complex. They should know how to run it. Yeah, there you go. I got nothing else to say, and I've got a shortage of time, so I got to wrap this up. So I hope you guys have appreciated or enjoyed me rambling on about what's in my bags for the last hour and some. You guys are the bomb. Stay safe, stay sane. We're going to get back to our regularly scheduled programming shortly. Well, you'll hear more from me soon. We got Guns and Camera Awards. We've got a lot of stuff in the works. It's just like finding the time. So I know you guys understand. I appreciate you all. Stay safe, stay sane, and get out there and make something awesome. Have a good one. All right, that's the end. There isn't any more. I mean, there is a lot more. There's a lot more equipment I could show you. I got all kinds of stuff inside of here, inside of all these cases. I've spent way too much money and way too much time in developing a whole lot of gear over a whole messy year. So if you guys have any questions about equipment, should I buy it? Is it worth buying? What do you think? Feel free to use me as a resource. Before you buy, just send me a DM and say, hey, Josh, do you have this? And what are your opinions on it? And I've got a lot of opinions on a lot of stuff. So feel free to use me as a resource. Please reach out anytime. You guys, thank you so much for enjoying, I hope, this week's weird episode of Guns and Cameras. We're going to get back to the normal stuff here, I hope, in a couple of weeks. It's just been crazy. I mean, it's been a crazy productive season, which I super appreciate because I need the income, but it's just a lot of time, a lot of time on the road. If I see you out there, don't be shy, come say hi, come chat cameras, come chat guns, do whatever. I'm going to be out in New Hampshire this coming week. We're leaving tomorrow. We're going to be out in Pelham, New Hampshire. We're going to be shooting some content for Ken Allen's training group for his event Kalashtober. It's one of the dopest events in the country. Super fun, lots of fun prizes. If you don't know about it, go check it out. Yeah, I got stuff to do, you guys. So y'all stay safe, stay sane, and go make something awesome. And just remember, speak truth, be brave, be bold, and take it easy. We'll see you on the next one.